Hello, I just wanted to make a little video. I don't know if you know, but I've been slowly taking college courses over the past couple of years, and I've taken history and philosophy and everything, and I'm learning. So I wanted to talk about the past and how we view it. Okay, I'm not saying that the things we did in the past were right. Okay, but I'm just saying you shouldn't look back on the past and say, those people were idiots. I hate those people. Look how they treated this group of people or that group of people, and they must have been evil people. Well, no, that's not the case. You see, the world is a learning process. And one guy, it's like climbing a ladder. He starts at the bottom of the ladder. It's like bringing a bucket to the top of a ladder, and he climbs as high as he can until he can't climb anymore. Then he gives it to the next guy who can climb, and he climbs it even higher. See what I'm saying? And nobody can start all the way at the bottom and climb all the way to the top in one lifetime. It just can't happen. You see, so back when we used to treat groups wrong, let's say racial groups like African Americans or gays or something like that, those people, they thought they were doing what was right. They thought it was, they were doing the work of the Lord. You know what I'm saying? And when you have something like that and all of society believes it, you can't figure all that out. You can't climb from the very bottom of the ladder to the very top all at once. It's like these cell phones we're using. Do you think one person really invented all this stuff? Everything that has to do with a cell phone all in one lifetime? No, it started out we had to first figure out how to harness electricity. And we did that. That took a whole lifetime. And then we had to figure out we figured out how to make lights with it, right? That was one of the first things. And that's all we used it for. And then we figured out how to make appliances with it. And then one generation figured out how to harness it. And then the other generation figured out how to use it for lights. They stood on the shoulders of the people who figured out how to harness it. And then the next generation figured out how to use it in appliances. And then the next generation figured out how to put it in cars and make TVs and stuff. And then the next generation figured out how to make video games out of it. And then the next generation figured out how to make cell phones out of it. You see what I'm saying? We didn't figure out all this stuff in our lifetime. And it's the same thing with politics and political views. These views that we have now weren't so easy to see back then. They didn't come about in one lifetime. You didn't figure out all this stuff all by yourself. See what I'm saying? They slowly started to figure out, hey, these people are equal to us. But it wasn't like that. They didn't just figure out they're equal to us all of a sudden. Like, let's say gays or whatever you want to say, okay? So they used to torture them, right? So first they thought, you have to move along in increments. They thought, well, it's wrong, but maybe we should not hurt them this bad. And then the next generation figured out, well, maybe we shouldn't hurt them at all. We should just preach to them. And then the next generation figured out, well, maybe we should, maybe just let them do what they want to. You see what I'm saying? And it continued to progress. You wouldn't be able to be born in 1800 and figure out all that in one lifetime. See what I'm saying? Because we have things we've been taught. It's like, you don't want to treat them bad? Well, why? It's against the Lord. They're doing what's wrong. You know what I'm saying? And it took years and years to figure out that the earth was actually millions of years old instead of just 6,000 years old. See what I'm saying? That had to be done first before you could think, hey, maybe if this stuff isn't true, then what they're doing isn't wrong. You see what I'm saying? Like, you can't just, and it really irks me when you see a history teacher looking back on old people and saying they were horrible people. You know what I'm saying? I mean, when Christopher Columbus came over here, they killed the Indians because they thought they were doing the work of the Lord. These people don't believe in God. We have to kill them. That's what God would want. That's what's right. See what I'm saying? They didn't just do it because they were evil. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you don't think there were hardworking people back then that tried to do right the best they can their entire life, just like there is now? Like a lot of history teachers, they try to paint the past. They try to paint people in the past out to be horrible people that were racist and all this stuff. But they don't understand why those people are like that. You know what I'm saying? And you're supposed to be the history teacher who knows about the past. I mean, I understand what I understand because I'm 36 years old. My grandpa was much older than your grandpa. He was born in 1927, about around there, So I knew he was a good person. You know what I'm saying? These political views take thousands of years to figure out. See what I'm saying? Like, these people thought they were doing what was right. They had no reason to believe it wasn't right. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they were taught that it was right. See what I'm saying? And we had to figure out that what they were taught was wrong. You see what I'm saying? They didn't have the equipment even to figure out that the earth was millions of years old. They couldn't dig hundreds of feet underground. You had to dig with a shovel. They had to find technology that would do stuff like that. See what I'm saying? And people probably didn't even know that stuff was like that was buried under the earth. You know what I'm saying? It took a long time to disprove that stuff. You understand what I'm saying? And instead of looking back on Christopher Columbus, he may have been a good guy, and he didn't know what he was doing. He was just doing it in the name of the Lord, or he thought. So it's like, you can't just call that guy an evil guy, just because he didn't go from the very bottom of the ladder all the way to the top in his lifetime, which is impossible. He just moved it along as far as he could, which was discovering the new world. You know what I'm saying? So instead of thinking on it like that as a good thing, because he did as much as he possibly could, they just paint him out to be evil. How could they know as much as we know now? We have 7 billion people on the earth. We have more people to figure out what's right or wrong. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, though, so I just wanted to tell you guys that, and it goes for the same with old people. If you treat old people like, oh, old people are racist, look what they used to have to do. Look what they used to do to people. They had to start down lower than you. You're starting on their shoulders. You know what I'm saying? But if you treat old people like that, like, let's say you're watching this video and you're young. You're 10 years old or whatever. You're 15 years old. And you are sitting here blasting these old people, calling them racist, because they had to start out down here and they couldn't get as far up as you, but you don't understand that. You just think they're just evil. Well, then when you get their age, when you get 30 years old, the young people are going to think you're racist. If you don't break the cycle, then the same thing is going to happen to you. See what I'm saying? And it's a very serious topic, because a lot of old people get abused because of their views and opinions. You know, and people don't understand why they're not way up here like you were taught. Well, when they went to school and they were learning stuff, that's all they knew. So that's what they got taught. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, so... And it makes old people mad when you call old people dumb and evil, because their grandparents lived in that era. You know what I'm saying? They knew people that lived and died in that era. You know what I'm saying? I'm just telling you, you know, I don't believe in this whole philosophy of corruption, that everything was created by evil, and that or the philosophy that the farther back you go, the more evil people were. They weren't evil. They just, they started down here and they carried the bucket as high as they could, but they couldn't get that high. You know what I'm saying? Their whole life they tried, but they couldn't disprove the philosophies that they had been taught. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, I just want to say that I don't think we should look back on these, what I would call heroes of the past, in a bad light, you know, because they didn't climb from the very bottom of the ladder to the very top, which you yourself won't even do. I guarantee. You're not going to climb farther than them. You're going to start up higher, but you're going to end off the same exact spot they did. And then the people after you are going to say, look at that fool. Look what he thought. He was a racist. He was an idiot. Your legacy is going to be tarnished. See what I'm saying? So, let's try to end this cycle. You know what I'm saying? You know, what they were doing was wrong, and everyone should learn from that. But I'm not going to look back at them and spit on their grave and try to tarnish their reputation. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, though, there's my little rant, I guess you can say. I've been trying to make more videos. You know, I make Cowboys videos. And, you know, I made a video kind of like this about football, about old quarterbacks. You know, I don't think we should tarnish their reputation. You know, I just don't think we should. You know, I think they, like you say, they started out lower than us. They took it as high as they could, but now it's our job to take it from there on higher. You know what I'm saying? And we shouldn't think that we would have started as low as they were and took it even higher than them. You know what I'm saying? So, anyways, though, but I just wanted to explain that, and I hope you listen. You know, and anytime, you know, you hear a history teacher blasting the past, or you hear somebody else tarnishing the past, you know, be grateful they did what they did. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here where we're at. You know what I'm saying? All right, thank you very much. Kenneth 14621 signing off.